Welcome, dear students, to another class of Hopkins poetry. And today I'll be dealing with the topic of inscape and instress in the poems of Hopkins. Now, as we already have an idea by now that Gerald Manley Hopkins was a Victorian poet, he was a Jesuit priest, and to some extent, spirituality and other aspects of nature had a great influence in his writings, in his mind, and in his expressions. Now, the topic for today's class is Hopkins' theory of inscape and instress. Now, these are quite significant phrases because this theory is directly connected and related to Hopkins because he's the one who coined these terms. Now, these two terms, inscape and interest, were coined by Gerald Manley Hopkins. Interest means the actual experience of a reader has of inscape, how it is received into the sight, memory, and imagination. So, three things he's focusing about here in stress and inscape, and that is sight, memory, and imagination that we have to be careful about. Now, the word inscape of Hopkins occurs already in Oxford notebooks, and basically, this inscape is modeled on landscape. You know what a landscape is. An inscape stands for any kind of formed or focused view, any pattern discerned in the world of nature. Discern means any pattern that is connected, related, or could be understood or comprehended in the world of nature. Now, nature here we're not significantly talking about trees and plants and flowers and shrubs and bushes. Nature also has double meanings here. The nature, which includes the nature or the behavior of human beings, as well as the nature or the beauty of nature. But here, when we talk about landscapes, definitely it's not connected at all with human nature. It is only connected with the natural beauty or the beauty of plants, trees, and flowers, and mountains, and everything that has been created by the Almighty for us. Now, according to Hopkins, he felt that all the world is full of inscape, and he says that chance falls into an order. Now, he explains that the word inscape, by inscape, he meant a design or a pattern, adding that design pattern, or what exactly the poet is in a habit of calling inscape is what above all aim in poetry. Now, Hopkins' most significant experience in inscape in nature seems to have occurred during the ascetic years of his Jesuit training, uh, notably between 1874 to 1877, when he enjoyed rural peace and contemplation of his studies um, in North Wales, and where he encountered the writings of Duns Scotus. He was a writer. And during those times when he was about to become a Jesuit priest, all these things, there was a closeness to nature. It is also said that man is the one, nature, God is the second, nature is the second name of God because uh, nature represents God. Because nature is giving, nature is calm, and nature is accepting. So, God also is like this. So it was as if asceticism sharpened his senses and drew aside an obscuring screen and revealing a world ablaze with energy, pattern, and color, and all things falling into a marvelous order. So, Hopkins saw nature thus from time to time, and when vision failed to grant him, he strove to attain it by conscious effort. Basically, inscape to Hopkins meant design or pattern. So I think you could understood by now that what exactly inscape means. It's kind of a pattern design, and this pattern design has been created in the mind of the poet, and how this mind or pattern gets exhibited in the form of writings of a poet. He was always delighted, Hopkins, when he penetrated through to the true escape of the scene, which thenceforth would be transformed for him. So he recorded one such occasion in the journal referring to the sunset, when he goes on to say that he has at last found the true escape of the scene. So, we can say to some extent that in his poetry, he's not merely trying to reproduce in languages this particular inscaped vision of nature, but he's also trying to produce inscapes or patterns of speech sounds which can be contemplated, which could be understood for their own sake. Now, to Hopkins, it is what called the shape that matters, the pattern or inscape imposed by the artist on the raw material of his medium. So, Inkscape is the soul of art, according to Hopkins, and the art to him had nothing to do with reproduction of surface reality. So, this is what actually um, uh, Inkscape meant to Hopkins. He made patterns of vowel sounds mainly for the joy of it, and patterns of internal rhyme, for instance. And this is what he called it the beauty of nature. Apart from the art of voweling, the using of the various vowel sounds, Hopkins also used alliterations to create patterns for inscaping of languages. So we stop here. We'll continue about in stress in the next class. A little bit background I'll be giving you about Inscape too. Thank you so much.